much higher for those not vaccinated. Then there was this, a major shift in how long the CDC says you should isolate after a positive test, down from 10 days to just 5, so long as you don't have symptoms like a fever or cough, and keep wearing a mask. CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky explains.
Let me make clear that we are standing on the shoulders of 2 years of science, 2 years of understanding transmissibility, and a lot of information that we have gleaned from the wild type virus, as well as the Alpha and Delta variants, and more that we continue to learn every single day about Omicron. We do know the vast majority of viral transmission happens in those first 5 days, somewhere in the 85 to 90% range. So if a person can isolate for the first 5 days, they absolutely should.
The decision was met with some concerns and pushback, accusing the CDC of satisfying business interests instead of public health. So that's where we'll start with Dr. Jeanette Neshwat, the medical director at CityMD, a network of urgent care centers in New York and New Jersey, and a Fox News medical contributor.
So here's the thing. I know if you're symptomatic and you test positive and you have symptoms, most likely you're going to still test positive 5 days later. But the CDC says, okay, you're most infectious 2 days prior to symptoms starting, 3 to 5 days after, which is probably true, but you're still potentially infectious after that. But I think the reason why they did it is to help reduce the economic strain on our country, on workers, and to preserve the workforce. I have so many colleagues who are out sick that we have to shut down some of our clinics because we're so short-staffed.
I mean, that's a good example. Do you worry about them interacting with patients if they come back after 5 or 6 days after a positive test, if they're not symptomatic anymore?
If they're no longer symptomatic and they're wearing an N95, which is the toughest mask, I'm not so worried. Most of the patients that are coming in are already testing positive here in New York anyways, but their symptoms are mild as well. But I think we're going to be dealing with this for a few weeks until we see a decline in the number of cases, sort of similar to what's going on in South Africa. We saw a rapid spike in the number of cases followed by a rapid decline, which hopefully we'll see here as well.
I mean, I guess when I read the CDC guidance, it was very confusing, right? You talk about quarantine and isolation, and I know that those are different. But what's the easiest way that you're explaining this to patients who might ask, when should I attempt to go back to the office? When should I be around family and friends?
So if you test positive and that's one of the problems with the